My air drums. Oh, there's no drum yet. Someone wanted intro music? You got it. All right. I'm not really musically inclined. I'm not on rhythm, so I'll stop. Welcome to Hall of Fame Huddle Live broadcast, week number 9. And this week we have Nolan Dwyer as our co-host. How are you doing, Nolan?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Rich?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. Nothing like delivering a bunch of food in the snow, in 8 inches of snow all day. So,
right.
The good thing is I did not get stuck in anybody's driveway.
That's a win.
So, yeah, that's definitely good. Did you get a chance to? Well, I know you saw you watched the Napoleon Northview game. What was that? Maybe 2 Tuesdays ago. Have you had an opportunity to watch any basketball this past week?
I watched the Napoleon Highland game, which I know you were out at. Which
I wasn't there, but I was watching on the live.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I caught that one. I caught pieces of a couple other games as well. Blanking off the top of my head, actually.
Oh, I know. Once you're on the mic and on the screen, man, you forget a lot of things.
Right. I watched Perrysburg and Springfield the other night, just yesterday, actually. Close game. Really probably should not have been, but Springfield fought and they kept it tight the whole way and gave themselves a chance to win that game. So caught a little bit of that game. Like I said, caught bits and pieces of other games here and there.
There are a lot of Springfields around Ohio.
Yeah, there are. I mean, you got Springfield down in the Dayton area. You got Springfield right outside Toledo up here. I think there's
Akron, Springfield. There's a Springfield around Youngstown somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but I know it's somewhere around Youngstown.
Yeah, and that does not include the Spring Boroughs of the world or anything else that's right up that alley as well.
I need to get this link tweeted out because I know everyone is going to want to come see you tonight.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So, yeah, what do you think of the Highland Napoleon game on last Tuesday? Or wait, no, that was Saturday. Sorry.
I mean, I thought it was a good game. I thought, obviously 2 very good teams, and I think if you run that game back, it could have gone either way. I think Highland's probably even the better team, if you run it over time. But at the same time, Napoleon showed up. They played well. Their defense is excellent. The team is just, I think that's their calling card this year, is they're just an elite defensive team, and thought for the most part it gave Highland fits for a lot of the game, a lot of one and dones, a lot of quick possessions, and just a lot of things really went Napoleon's way. So at the end of the day, like I said, 2 very good teams, and I don't think the result is really. I mean, like I said, you could run that game 10 more times, and you're going to get both teams coming out ahead once or twice on each end of the floor.
I'd love to see it 10 more times. That'd be pretty awesome.
Likewise.
We talked to Dave Sunday night, and he said that they were down 20-5. That was before I even turned it on.
Yep.
That they just expended too much energy trying to get back, and they actually did. They were up 35-30 at one point. So that's what, a 30-10 run.
Yeah.
They kind of gassed out, but that's the kind of games you want at this time of year.
Absolutely.
Prepare you for tournament.
That's a game that's going to prepare both those teams for the tournament. You're not going to get better opponents than that until you're getting to the Final Four, and you may not see anybody better the entire way in either one of those divisions. So, kudos to each of those teams for getting that together, because that was a heck of a challenge for both teams to put it out there. And yeah, like you said, I'd love to see it a couple more times. It's a heck of a game.
We unfortunately they are in different divisions, but we if they were in the same division, it would be possible that we could see it again.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'd expect to.
We are going to start our show off tonight with the head coach of the Canton McKinley Bulldogs, Brian Bowden. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Rich. How you doing this evening?
Man, I'm doing excellent. I appreciate you jumping on with us. I know you're driving back from the McKinley boys game, so I definitely appreciate you taking the time to get on the phone with us. And we got a lot to talk about because those pups over there are pretty hot right now.
We're playing all right now, man. The whole thing is just maintaining that, right? At this time of the year.
I know you guys recently you have wins over Hoover and Jackson, and that's both in the last 10 days. What exactly is kind of getting you guys in this groove and taking you to that point where you're getting really good wins? And I mean, you guys weren't the Jackson game wasn't close. So what's clicking right now that's got you guys playing the way you are?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's really just a quick little phrase that's called buy-in.
Mm-hmm.
I've been preaching this since I took over, the job at the beginning of last season, and it just seems that we have a group of girls this year that have had me under their belt for a full season, and they're just kind of getting used to my style, what we like to do, and what we're good at. And I really preach to the girls. There's nothing wrong with being great at what you're good at, and then still working on the other things. But I really think that our team chemistry, our unity, and just our willingness now to play for one another and to push each other, and just to really accept some roles.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just playing harder. And I think all of that is just a direct effect of everybody just being a little bit tighter. Our locker room's pretty solid. And the girls really fight and push for each other. And I've been at McKinley. This is my third season on the girls' side, and I've had a lot of firsts this year. I want to keep those firsts coming. So, like I said, the girls are just playing harder. They're playing for one another. Just playing with a little bit more pride. And I mean, they're even practicing with a lot more pride. And that's one thing that I'm very, very happy about as far as for them and just for our program at its current state.
I'll be honest with you. When I saw the seedings, I was a little bit surprised that you guys were one spot ahead of Jackson. They got a win against you guys early in the year, and the records were similar, but at the time they had a slight advantage. And anybody who had any doubt about that, you slammed the door shut on that on Saturday without any doubt. How did that game go towards the confidence of your girls and moving forward into the tournament?
Well, it was just we play in a very tough league, and
no doubt about that.
Every single night, I don't care who you're playing. I don't care if you're playing Glen Oak. I don't care if you're playing Lake. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if you do not come prepared to play. If you don't come prepared to coach that night, you will either be outplayed or outcoached.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that going up against Jackson for us was it was just a mindset that they had beaten us 3 times in a row since last year.
Yeah.
And there was a recipe that Jackson uses, and we just couldn't solve it. Now, it was unfortunate Saturday that Lena sprained her ankle and she had to go out. That's something that you never, ever want to see. But I just think, once we were down 22-7 in the second quarter, our girls just realized that, we've been down before. And that's one other thing that's really changed about this group is that whenever we used to get down, people would tend to quit and eyes would start looking, and you see a lot of fingers pointing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you have a lot of people pulling for each other, telling people next play, next play, next play. And so I think for us is just having that confidence that, we are a pretty athletic team. We are a pretty quick team. We're not very deep. We're not very big. I mean, our tallest player has pretty much been out the majority of the season. And our Achilles heel is teams' offensive rebounding on us shooting free throws, and or us just not making shots. And so we knew that if we had a good game playing against Jackson, and we just continued to play how we have been playing, really ever since we've gotten back from break, starting with with that Hoover game.
Mm-hmm.
We had a pretty interesting Christmas break with picking up Norton, and I told the girls don't overlook Norton, and Norton's a very tough team and probably one of the best defensive teams that I've seen around the state of Ohio thus far this year, or at least in Northeast Ohio. I told the girls after that Norton game, Norton is guarding us like we should be guarding people. And I think by them watching that film, and it just gave them a little bit of confidence that if we do the right things, if we listen to coach and the coaching staff and understand our defensive rotations, and sometimes we got to play a little bit crazy and just all over the court sometimes. But my girls really feed on that, man, and they're hungry right now as far as being able to play defense, rotate, and just help each other out. And, like I said, there's not too many teams that we're going to play that are going to be as quick as us. And so we have to use that to our advantage. But I also think the good thing about us this year is that we can play you on the half court a little bit too.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot better offensively. We're also shooting the ball a lot better this year. That just has to do with all the girls putting in the work over the summertime and last spring and all that, and just understanding what our weaknesses were, and just trying to fix them a little bit. We still got a lot of mechanical things to fix with jump shots and things of that nature, but we have a lot of girls putting in extra time, 2 and 3 days a week, even after practice, working out on the gun, working out on their ball handling and passing and strength and conditioning. So, to answer your question, Rich, I'm sorry. We just knew that if we played the way that we've been playing, and then we didn't wait too long, that we had a very, very good shot at beating Jackson. And, I told the girls the top 6 seeds right at the tip-off of the game. I had found out right before the tip-off of our game, probably about 104, 105, I found out. And I told the girls, I went down, I said 1-0, Stowe, Hoban, Hoover, you, and Jackson. And I just flat out told them, you were tied with Jackson, 990 points apiece. And I said, I think you won the tiebreaker. And that's all I told them. And, the rest was up to our seniors who just decided to, it's just time for us to play. And, those two have really been carrying us this year as far as the leadership. And we've just had some good team efforts lately.
Coach, Jackson is not your only big win. You also, of the top 10 teams, you got 2 wins over Perry. You got a big win of Hoover. We already mentioned the big win against Jackson. The number 2 seed Stowe, you beat them earlier in the season. Now, I know a lot has changed since November 30th or whatever that was. I was at that game.
Yeah.
But that's certainly got to give you guys Nordonia. I mean, you beat Nordonia without any and again, there was no gray area in that game. You took control. That's got to give you guys a lot of confidence going in the tournament, feeling like you can take this bracket.
Yeah, well, that Nordonia game was a little bit scary. Like halfway through the first quarter, they had jumped out to a little bit of a lead on us. But same thing that we've been preaching all day. It's not going to happen immediately. Mm-hmm. You have to have a little patience. You have to let things develop on offense and on defense, and you have to respect the process. And I'm happy that we're beating good teams. I had some friends of mine when they first saw the schedule, they asked me, "What are you doing?" And I says, what do you mean? And he says, dude, you're going to be 500 this year with that schedule.
Yeah.
And I says, oh, well, I'll take that 500 if our girls are getting better, and it's going to prepare us for the tournament.
Yeah.
I'll take that. But I'm an old school McKinley guy. We always played everybody. Anytime people called and says, hey, we want to schedule, I really didn't care who it was. I knew Norton was going to be good this year. I knew Nordonia was good. I knew Northwest was going to be good. Berlin Highland is always good. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to play our game against Laurel with Kevin Broughton and that real good team he has.
Mm-hmm.
I really think for us, it's just, our girls understand our strength of schedule. I still, Max Prep still has us as the strongest schedule in the top 40 in Ohio.
Wow.
So, that was, like I said, I don't pay that much attention to it, but when somebody else is recognizing who we play and how good those teams are, and I mean, we're 22-21 with Berlin Highland at half, and their size and experience really took over after 3 1/4 quarters. I mean, the game was still close.
Yeah.
Glen the last time, we really lose that game by 2, and we were down by 15 with probably about 6 minutes to go in the game, and we came back and we're only down by 2 and wound up losing it by 6 because Jordan Weir had 2 free throws late, and she got a go-ahead layup at the very end off of our pressure. So we wound up losing by 6. I don't know. Yeah. I think you weren't at that Hoover game, our first game of the year, which was a very, very good game. Went to overtime.
Yeah.
But our girls know that they play against good competition. So we already know that anybody we face, we've seen what they've done to us already. It just takes a matter of time for us to adjust to it. And if we're shooting the ball well and we're really interested, then we're pretty daggone dangerous.
You mentioned old school McKinley, and I know I've told you this story, but the viewers, it's worth mentioning again. My very first basketball memory as a child, and I was probably 4, was going down to the field house when you got, I don't even know who you played, but you and Timken played back to back one night down there, and it was packed and it was awesome. And you drove baseline and tried to flush one. And I swear, as a 4-year-old, that ball bounced all the way up to the rafters. And I know it was a little exaggeration in my mind. That's what it felt like. But let's talk a little bit about the new school down there. You got a set of guards that are really good with Nakia Terrell and Kyla White. And then you also have Paris Stokes, who's really starting to come on from what I'm seeing. Tell us a little bit about those 3 guards and how they're kind of helping you guys navigate this tough schedule.
Well, it's there's nothing like having good guard play in the game of basketball, especially in today's game where it's very guard dominated. I've seen so much improvement out of those 3 young women in the last 2 seasons. It's just been crazy. I mean, their maturity level on different platforms as well. Like, Nakia last year kind of showed that she could be a decent scorer. Well, I challenged her this year to become a better defender and a better teammate, a better leader.
Uh-huh.
And she's had some rough times doing that this year because, and so she's had to be more of a nurturing person, but I still need her to be nasty sometimes.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, she's turning in a Federal League Player of the Year kind of season this year. That's just my opinion. I mean, she's leading the league in scoring. I mean, she continues to carry us offensively and just do those good things for us defensively as well. Kyla Foster, just a player that you really want to fight for all the time. She does all of the little things well. me as an offensive player, when I played, I beg her to be more selfish sometimes because I think we're a better team when she's also being aggressive, looking to score. But she always guards the team's best player.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's shut down some girls this year that have had very, very big first halves against us. And we put false Kyla on them in the second half, and she shut those players down. She's one of the best rebounding guards that I've seen besides Kate Howard out at Hoover. Those two are probably the best rebounding guards in the league in my eyes. And I think Kate might even be a little bit taller than Kyla, but both of them are under 5'9", or about 5'9", 5'10" maybe. Yeah. But I think Kate's a 5'8", 5'9". But both of them just have a nose and a neck for the ball. Kyla's worked a lot on her jump shot. And, they still challenge me in practice. And that's something that, I've always allowed my players to do, whether I was coaching boys or girls. I'm not a micromanager. I tell the players all the time, this is a democracy. I said, I am the president, but this is a democracy, democracy. So I invite the girls that if they have anything to say, that's as long as it's good criticism and is good for the team. If they have suggestions offensively, defensively, I let them go at it. And, that whole leadership piece, the one thing I've seen this year, especially from those two, and it's kind of just rolled right downstream to Paris, is that willingness to not be a robot and to just be a basketball player. And if you see something, those three know our offense better than anybody. I don't know too many coaches that, that have the luxury of really having 3 point guards on the court most of the time, And so when you have those three on the court and you have all three of them playing at a high level, it takes a lot of pressure off of our young bigs and our young forwards to just not have to worry so much about scoring, but just to go play a little defense and just make sure that everybody is taking care of their assignments. Paris Stokes has really come on. Paris is just a gamer. I don't really know how to describe Paris. Mm-hmm. It's hard because if you would see Paris some days at practice, you would not think that that's that girl out on the court playing like that. Yeah, I'm serious. Like Paris has been able to mature emotionally so much in the last maybe 10 months to a year, really since the end of her 8th grade. She has matured so much. And so now what she's able to do is she's able to take that energy that she has and those emotions, and she's starting to just apply them to her basketball game. Yeah. And Paris was not a good shooter. I mean, her form and mechanics are still not that great. But the one thing I love about Paris, she gets in that gym and she worked on it a lot this summer. And we're going to even work on it even more this summer, make sure that elbow gets in a little bit more. But, I mean, she's turned into a pretty heck of a basketball player. And I'll be honest with you, she's given me more than I expected out of her this year. Mm-hmm.
Coach, one last question. So, we talked earlier in the season. Well, did we talk before the season started? It was either right before it started or right after. You mentioned about last year with, there were some struggles, some conflicts, some headbutting. Yeah. It doesn't seem like any of that is going on this year. I mean, particularly, from the outside looking in, what does that mean to you as a coach that those things have gotten cleared up, and how much easier does that make your job?
Well, and that was the first thing I said, even when we started this, this interview was buy-in. Mm-hmm. I just finally have girls that understand that, I'm not great at anything. I've known that for my entire life. I'm pretty good at a lot of things. Even as even as a basketball player, I was not great at anything, but I was pretty daggone good at a whole lot of stuff. And I've always prided myself as a coach at being good at a little bit of everything, because your players need a little bit of everything. So when my players understand my basketball experiences, my Kenton McKinley experience, my Canton, Ohio experience and all of that. And, I have a lot of stories, from my travels from the age of really 15 until I was probably about 27. And so, we talk a lot more. I think more than anything, I had to do more attitude adjusting and behavioral modification on my end in order for any of them to be able to follow suit. I had to learn how to change a little bit, and I just don't think last year's group was not. If you tell me that this year's group and last year's group, I would have picked last year's group as far as athletic ability and things of that nature. But when you want to talk about girls that are fearless or are becoming a little bit more fearless, and they're playing for each other, and they're really, really learning and accepting how to work. Last year's group was highly resistant on organizational work. And this year, when you bring back two girls that have played with a 3-time Miss Ohio, they've seen success. They've had good AAU summers this past year. And then you have a coach that's really pulling for them. I will say this. I am a player's coach. I always try to put my players first, and I think that was the one message I told them at the beginning of the years. These girls don't have any pressure for them. Why would you have pressure just going out there and playing a game of basketball? Just go out and play, have some fun. All the pressure's on me. I tell the girls all the time, if we get blown out in the paper, they don't say it was y'all's fault, it's my fault.
Yeah.
I said, right. I mean, and so I always tell them, I am a big enough man and still a big kid that I can shoulder all of that. You guys just go play. And I think they've allowed me to be able to soften up a little bit, not be so hard-edged. My wife made a comment to me the other day. She says, people at the game were talking about how you were smiling during the game. And people, and like, there's a whole thing that I don't smile while I'm coaching. And I don't, because I'm at work. But I think in order to do this job and to really do it for a long time, you have to smile. You have to laugh. You have to enjoy these relationships with these young women, because pretty soon, you just two years has gone by so fast already. Well, really 3 years. I mean, I've had Nakia and Kyla, I've known both of them since they were 7th graders. So that's 5 years ago that those 12 and 13-year-old girls are now 18-year-old women, headed to college next year. And, I think that the girls have really just bought into each other. We had a very, very good summertime because it was just us. They got the time, they got time to spend with some of my assistant coaches and really kind of solidify some of those relationships, understand them a little bit better. And, I just think that time that we had this year and just how much we joke and communicate, I just think that has really helped our program get to where it's at. But like I said, we are nowhere where we need to be. We still have a lot of development to do. This group right now is truly surprising me, and I'm just going to cherish every day that we have together, and I hope that they do the same.
Absolutely.
I really do.
Coach, I want to thank you for your time. I know it wasn't the easiest. You had to run out of a game and get on the phone with us, so I really appreciate that, and we will definitely be keeping an eye on the pups this year, and there's a good chance that you'll be seeing me at some big tournament games here coming up soon.
Well, Rich, I sure hope so. But you know me. I mean, I'm never gonna go count my chickens before they hatch. Like I said, this is the game of basketball. Tournament time comes. If you are not ready to play one night, you don't get another night. I mean, and you know, then we're going home early. But like I said, we're in a pretty good bracket. It's a tough bracket. I know Stowe has gotten better. That's why I put them up there in the top 3. You know, I know Hoban's pretty good, and we already know how Glen Oak is, and you know how good Hoover is, and you still know how good Jackson is. I mean, I think it's nice for our league that we have 4 of the top 6 teams out of our league in the season. I just think that's fabulous for the Federal League. I mean, that's just me. I mean, you know, I know typically most McKinley people aren't proponents of the Federal League or fans and things of that nature, but I respect the Federal League just because I know that our brand of basketball is tough. We may not have those individual Division I players like those other schools in Cleveland area have, but when you want to talk about team basketball, because this is a team game, we have some pretty daggone good teams down here in Stark County.
That's right.
So,
Coach, you have yourself a good night, and tell your wife I said hi.
I will, Rich. Have a good one. Thank you very, very much for having me on, and enjoy it.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
They, that district, I mean, I was not surprised at all that McKinley jumped in there with Stowe, because like I said, they did play early. It was a real long time ago. Stowe was coming off, I think, a 10-day quarantine. So, you know, a lot has changed since then. But that when it comes down to it, I think Warren Harding's also in that bracket. So they're probably the only other team that has a chance to compete. But there's a very good chance that we're going to get round 2 of that McKinley-Stowe game. Let me get my headphones off here. Now that we're not going to have anybody else on the phone anymore, so let me switch over. Okay, still hear me? Nolan, are you awake?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, we are going to shift down south, and we have Jamar Mosley from Purcell Marion in Cincinnati, Ohio. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing well, Rich. How about yourself?
Man, if I was doing any better, I don't know how I'd handle myself.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you what, this is the first time that you and I have ever spoke. I mean, I follow your team on Twitter. You know, you guys follow me, so we know a little bit about each other that way, but we've never spoke man to man, and I've just heard so many great things about you in the last couple of weeks, Coach, from, I mean, a half a dozen different people. Tell me what am I missing, man? Because all these people have so many great things to say about you.
Oh man, I'm honored to hear that. You know, I hear the exact opposite. I hear how mean of a coach I am, how strict of a coach I am, and how I just demand too many things. So for you to say that you've heard all these great things, it's like a treasure to my heart right now.
Hey, man, I can relate to that, honestly. In our AAU program, I'm really, really tough on, you know, the kids that can handle it and you know, have the potential high enough to be better. And almost every single one of them at some point in their life say how much they appreciate it. So I can promise you, you're doing the right thing, and it shows with your squad. I mean, you guys have been a top tier team in your division the last couple of years. You know, since I'm from the north, I don't really know a whole lot about your team. Can you just kind of give us some of the main pieces there that we should probably hear about and know?
Well, you know, I took over the program. I'm in my 4th year. A program that had some talent and had some pieces. Then, you know, to be honest with you, I actually had no interest in coaching girls basketball again. Mm-hmm. So about 7 years ago, I was coaching the girls AAU team, and we were literally getting our heads beat by 70 every night. I was like, there's no way I can coach girls basketball. But I can say one of the things that I learned from that is patience. So I had used that when I was on the boys' side and everything. So I say that to say I got to the I took over this program with 2 kids in mind, and one of them ended up not playing for me, and another one ended up having a season-ending injury. And then so we had a couple girls that transferred in, and I got a couple girls that's been playing for 4 and 3 years. To be honest with you, I'm a very senior-led team. And our girls, our seniors, and Kara King, Jaymani Jones, Janae Rose, they have I've been doing a lot less coaching this year than I have in the past years. And our girls just come out and compete every single night. Like one of the things I told them yesterday at halftime is one of the things that I can never take from you is your effort. You give 110% effort every single night. And I mean, at this level, I think that's pretty much what it is. If you have a team that's going to fight for you, if you got a team that's going to buy into the things that you're trying to do, you're going to have a chance every night. And I think that's the reason why we've been in games. And I mean, I think since I've been here, I think we've lost 2 games by over 10 points, and I think we've lost out of the 15 games 8 points by 4 or fewer points. And I think it just comes from the girls' effort on a daily basis.
Rich, you're on mute. And I agree with that statement. I was Rich and I were talking about that earlier today. I was talking about a score that was a little surprising to me, which was the Perrysburg-Springfield game up this way in Northwest Ohio. And really, Springfield had no business in it, but they just, they fought and they clawed. And when you give that effort and you fight for possessions, I mean, these high school games, it's a lot to handle for some of these kids. So you can keep yourselves in games when you're fighting like that and grinding.
Yeah, and I think that comes to my premise of coaching, and I think my premise of coaching is just to develop the totality of these young women. So I know what basketball did for me, so I know it can do for them. And I think, like you just said, is just digging deep down. Like, what are you going to do when things get tough? Are you going to quit? And I just want my girls to know, like, it's never okay to quit, no matter if it's in basketball or if it's at a job, no matter what it is, just continue to fight.
Coach, you've already talked about a couple things, but I'm curious on some of the pillars of your program that have allowed you guys, and quite honestly, in a short period of time, you're still undefeated this year, right?
We are not. We actually we lost 2 Saturdays ago. We lost a close game to Alter. Okay. And then this past Saturday, we couldn't find a game. So I was searching and digging for a game. And yeah, we ended up playing Mount Notre Dame.
Okay. Well, you were undefeated for quite a while. And I do remember seeing the Notre Dame game on Twitter now that I think about it. But, what are some of those pillars that have allowed you in 4 years to get to the point where, the only way you're losing is to play traditional powers at this point?
Yeah, so I mean, there's quite a few things. I think of mission statements of schools. I think of mission statements of programs, and you can ask any girl in our program what our coaching philosophy is, and they'll tell you that basketball is a game. Games are meant to be fun. There's no fun in losing, so you might as well win. So like we keep practice stats, not so much now, but especially early on in the season, we keep practice stats every day, and we just really emphasize don't lose a drill, don't lose a practice. And then I mean from there, some of our core values is accountability, enthusiasm, teamship. And then one of the things that we always talk about is just do what we do. Don't worry about any of the outside chatter. Right before we take the court for every game, we always say have fun and do what we do.
I'm going to come back to that in a second, but when you mentioned the enthusiasm, we had Coach Cass on here last week, and that was one thing that she mentioned is her enthusiasm. She maybe not in its entirety, but most of it comes from coaching with you and, being a mentor to her. So if I've never seen you coach, what does Coach Mosley look like on the sideline? I want to hear about some of this enthusiasm. What are some things that people know you for on the sideline?
The Coach Mosley that you'll see on the sidelines and the Jamar Mosley that you'll see anywhere else is you'll probably think Coach Mosley is a lunatic. Like I'm just on my girls constantly, and the good and the bad. Like they're going to hear about every mistake that they make, and I'm going to be the loudest person in the gym, and I'm going to let you know like what pass was that, and if you take a charge, I'm going to be the first person that congratulate you during the timeout. I'm gonna meet you at half court. I mean, now when I say I'm in your face, I'm not saying anything degrading. I'm not saying anything demeaning. I don't use profanity. But I am gonna the entire game.
Yeah,
that's the good and the bad.
Yeah,
but I am. Some people say I'm extra. Some people say I heard the bad sides of it. Like I said at the beginning, you're too mean on those girls, or you're too hard on those girls, and I think a lot of it comes from that. It's that I'm coaching girls. But I don't look at a gender while I'm out there. Now, I do have to take some gender roles into perspective while I'm coaching, but at the end of the day, I'm coaching basketball.
Yeah.
The same tactics that you take to win a man's game is the same that you can take to win a women's game.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to ask, you mentioned you try not to focus on the outside noise or anything outside the program. One of the things when I think of Purcell Marion basketball, and like I said, I've never seen you play, but I know the last year you had a tremendous season. I know this year you're having a tremendous season. And, I don't know where the rankings have you this year, but I know last year was a kind of a topic online on Twitter and whatnot that, you guys were like 13-0 or 13-1 and you couldn't get in the top 10 or whatnot. Is that something that motivates you guys, or is it something you try to ignore? How do you guys use that, or do you use it at all?
To be honest with you, I try to stay away from those rankings, and I just tell our girls, let's just make sure we're playing our best basketball come early February, going into late February, early March. Try to stay away from the rankings as much as we can. Just for the simple fact, I'm not going to say I know everything, but a lot of these people just have no idea what they're talking about. Like I saw someone on the boys' side today. They got someone who was a number 7 seed, and they were receiving votes to be number 1 in the state. I was just like, some of these people just have no idea what they're talking about, and I just try to stay away from it. Like I said, I try to keep our girls as close as possible and try to stay away from all the outside chatter and all the outside noise.
Where did you guys fall at with the seeding in the tournament? Like I said, I'm completely other end of the state, so I'm not familiar with every team and where they ended up. But where did you guys fall, and how are you feeling about the postseason?
So we actually received the number 1 seed here in Cincinnati, and as far as districts go, to be honest with you, one, we have to win, or we got to win every single game. I try my best not to look ahead, just for the simple fact we've lost games in the past couple of years that we shouldn't have lost, that I feel like we shouldn't have lost. So I try not to look too far ahead. But I did, once the brackets came out, I saw our district matchup, and to be honest with you, I have no idea. It could be a National Trail. It can be a Versailles, who has great tradition. It can be a Carlisle, who has a couple losses, but they've been in every single game. Preble Shawnee, who's having a pretty solid year. So when you look at those 4 teams, I'm just like we just got to be ready. We got to be ready and prepare for each of those 4 teams. But we open up with a Reading who hasn't won a game this year. If we were to get past Reading, we'll play against a Finneytown who has a coach that's very similar to myself. In your face coach, holds his kids accountable. So they'll be a team that's ready. Then if we get past them, we'll play between a Claremont Northeastern, a Madeira, and a Cincinnati Gamble. So that's that. If we was to make it to a sectional championship, those would be one of the 3 teams that we would play there.
Give us a couple things that your team needs to get better at. Again, I haven't seen you play, so that's not something that I'm familiar with. But you are number 1 seed. You're having a great season, but there's always something that may hold you back in the future. What is that for your team? That something that you just got to tighten up on before the big tournament games come along?
So the one thing that I'll pride my girls on is their defensive effort and their defensive intensity. So I think in league play, I think we're giving up 32 points. And I'm not sure if you know much about the GCL co-ed, but Roger Bacon's in there. They've been ranked throughout the year.
Yeah.
Carol, who's been to state Final Four the last 2 years before getting kicked out last year. Baden, who has a really rich history. McNick, Alter, who won 3 or 4 championships few years back. But so we're playing in GCL and we're giving up 32 points in that conference. And our other games, we've literally only played the GCL teams, and we played the all-girl GCL schools in Mount Notre Dame and Seton and Mercy McCauley. And I think we're still giving up only 36 points. So we pride ourselves on the defensive end. But to answer your question, Rich, I think we really have to get better on the offensive end. So the 2 games that we lost, Mount Notre Dame, we only scored 28 points. Then against Alter, I think they beat us 38-41. And no, that's definitely not a game where I thought we would score that low, but a bunch of turnovers. So no, we just got to really do a better job of taking care of the basketball in the half court, because we're a team that likes to get up and down. But when teams slow us down, we got to be able to play that half court game and take care of the basketball and execute in the half court.
Coach, I'll tell you this: any coach that is willing to take on Mount Notre Dame, especially when you're kind of a lower division school that wants to make a name for yourself and wants to compete. Any coach like that is a friend of mine. So I wish there were more friends more coaches like that out there. And I wanted to ask you before we go, other than kids on your team, give us 2 or 3 kids from the Cincinnati area that you have played against that maybe the rest of Ohio should probably know their name.
Well, I'm pretty sure the rest of Ohio knows about KK Bransford.
Yeah.
One of the top players in the country. And I'm not sure if the rest of the state knows about Layla Filia, but she's another girl on that Mount Notre Dame team. And I had a conversation with someone earlier, and they was like, who would you compare it to? And I think Layla Filia is very similar to a female version of Dwayne Wade. She's a 3-level player. She can score at the basket. She can knock down an open jumper. And I have yet to see a girl at the high school level with the in-between game like her. She gets to her spots on the floor and just makes it look so pure. And she's a really good player. Then the other one of our rival, Roger Bacon, they have a point guard that's going to Providence, and Kylie Shepard. Just a phenomenal all-around player. She just has – it's not going to be mentality. You're not going to beat me off the dribble. You're not going to score on me. And I'm going to make sure I score on you on the other end.
Coach, I'm gonna really challenge you here, and I'm gonna tighten up that window. Give us 2 names that are not Division I signees or recruits.
2 names that's not division.
Put 2 kids on the map for us that we may not know.
A kid that you might not know. I coached her in AAU a couple years ago. She's plays Division III basketball here in the Cincinnati area. Tori Utter. She's averaging 19, 20 points for Georgetown. A true point guard. Like I said, she's averaging about 19 or 20 points. I mean, she has to do that for her team, but just a phenomenal kid with an unbelievable work ethic. I mean, she saw that we was playing Mount Notre Dame, and she reached out to me, and I wish there was more coaches like you. And I responded back to her so the whole world could see. I wish there was more players like you with the work ethic that you have. I mean, just a phenomenal kid, phenomenal family, just a amazing work ethic. One of those kids that's going to come in for 30 minutes before practice and stay an hour after practice just to get shots up.
Yeah.
Then another kid that I could think of is one that we just played against, Shemaya Strayhorn. She is a combo guard at St. Ursula. She is signed to a Division II school. Can't think of the school right off top, but she is very similar to a Kylie Shepard in a sense, but she just has that it's not going to be me mentality.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to score on me. I think in the game we played against her, she attempted to take 3 charges, got 2 called for her, and one that probably should have, which I think was a bad call, which I wouldn't tell the ref. But then just a great athlete, just knows where to get the ball to, know when she needs to score the basketball and who to get the ball to in certain situations.
Well, Coach, it was a pleasure talking to you. I definitely want to stay in contact with you. You seem like a really down to earth dude, and I think that we would really get along. We have some of the same beliefs on how the game should be played and how it should be approached. So, I would definitely like to stay in contact, and I'll be keeping an eye on you guys. If not in person, definitely on social media, see how you guys are doing.
Yes, sir.
All right, Coach. I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on with us tonight.
I appreciate you, Rich.
All right, have a good one.
All right, you do the same.
Nolan, you and I talk about this all the time. I mean, there's just not that many teams that want to play anybody good. I mean, dominant. So to take a game against Mount Notre Dame on the fly, I mean, I got a lot of respect for that guy.
Yeah, quite impressive, to say the least. That's, I mean, clearly the number 1 team in the state, and I think anybody that follows basketball knows that anytime you got them on the schedule, you're in for a long night, no matter who you are.
Oh, yeah. We are going to move a little north now. We're going to head to the Dayton area, a little bit outside of Dayton. We got Caleb South joining us now, and Caleb is the sole owner, proprietor, CEO, whatever the title is of CPS Training. I know Nolan does a little training too, so you guys have a little bit something in common. But how's your night going, Caleb?
I'm great, Rich. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing all right. I know that we have been in contact quite a bit over the last month or so, because we're working together on the All Ohio camp. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I want to start and just kind of ask, what got you on this path that you want to be, a big time trainer, and then that's your focus and that's your goal and that's what you're going after.
Yeah. So, when I was a senior in high school, like any other basketball player,
and you're still a pretty young dude. I mean, you were just a senior, what?
Yeah, that was 3 years ago. Yeah, so my junior year I scored my 1,000th point. I got All-State, and I played for a really good AAU team. And going into my senior year, I had really big goals and aspirations. And I suffered 2 injuries back to back. I broke my foot, and then I ended up tearing every ligament in my knee, and I have arthritis in the knee now. But it kind of changed the trajectory of my life, and I was really in a dark place, and I still wanted to be around the game. And by training kids and being in the gym, being a positive role model, it's just started locally, like at my home school where I was. And I wasn't even doing it for money at first, just because I love being in the gym. I was always a gym rat. But once I saw that there was a need, just of people who really just love ball, that aren't in it for the money, aren't trying to pump as many kids in as possible, that's when I said, I think this is for me. And regardless of what I do, I mean, I'm doing education. That's my major right now. But regardless of what I do, I still envision myself being around the game, and I want to coach because I love it. I think like the lessons you learn in sports, like the lessons I learned, getting injured, apply to everywhere in life. Learning how to deal with adversity is going to help you because everyone's going to face adversity. So.
Oh, yeah. Tell me just, maybe 1 or 2 things that why what you're doing, is different or what makes your training stand out from, there's a lot of people out there that are training, and unfortunately, too many of them are in it for the money. They kind of have their own agenda. I know that's not you, but what separates your training from, any other trainer that these kids could go to?
I feel like when you do a training session with me, CPS training, I cap all my group workouts at 7 people. So, I mean, you're always going to get maximum number of reps. I do some team training, but when we're doing group workouts, everybody should feel like they got better every time they step in the gym with me. That's my goal. My goal isn't to make the most money I can possibly make. My goal is every single person that walks in, what is your goal? How can I help you achieve it? And in on one-on-one sessions, there's specific things. Obviously, you look for certain players are looking for certain things, post player, guard, but I feel like my attention to detail is different than a lot of other trainers, just from what I've seen. And, when I was a player, I worked with a lot of trainers, and it was just kind of, we'll just do whatever. I'm really, really picky, and I hold people accountable. That's just my personality. And I think it helps. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback, from, hey, since we started working together, my free throw percentage has improved this much, or I've improved this way. So I really enjoy it. And I always tell the people I train, I learn from you just like you're learning from me. Every experience, I'm learning what drills are effective, how long we should do certain things. So I learn from them just like they learn from me.
Oh, somebody must be in trouble. Who was it? I heard some police sirens. You also you're coaching at Tri Village. You guys have a pretty solid team.
Yes.
Tell us how that's going for you, and give us some kids on that squad that everybody should know.
Absolutely. I first and foremost, Brad Gray is our head coach. He's done a tremendous job at Tri Village. We just clinched another league championship. We've won like over 30 straight league games. We have 2 class of 2023 girls. One is Riley Sagaster, who, she's offers from Wright State, Marshall, Valpo. She's getting recruited by everyone. She plays for the West Virginia Thunder. She'll be at our Ohio event. She's a really good player, about 5'6", 5'7", can shoot it anywhere on the floor. Her playmaking ability has gotten a lot better. It's developing. She's a really, really good player. And then our other 23, Morgan Hunt, is incredible. She has a motor second to none. She does everything for us. She's our leader in assists, leading rebounder. She's just a really, really good player, and she makes other people better. And I'm really excited for you to get a chance to see her. And then we have a 22 named Megan Downing, who's about 6'2", 6'3". She can move really, really well for her size, and we use her in a lot of pick and roll actions. So it's been a really, really good experience. I'm really grateful that Coach Gray trusts me and lets me do skill development with his girls, and it's been a great program to be around.
Well, I actually did see you guys play. It was last year, so you weren't coaching.
Okay.
But I knew them, and for the record, I picked them to beat Margaretta at the Classic, and they let me down.
I'll have to tell him that tomorrow.
Oh, he remembers. He has to remember. But I actually got to see them practice a little bit on Friday when they were down there. I was impressed with some of the attention to detail that he had, and just how he interacted with his players. And he definitely seems like a really good coach. So it's got to be fun for you to work with him.
He's a great guy too.
Nolan, who is on here with us, Nolan Dwyer, he actually, we have a common bond because I work with him with the Northwest Ohio Showcase. I'm working with you on the All Ohio camp, and those are actually back-to-back weekends, March 14th and March 21st. When you approached me about the All Ohio camp, and Coach Gray had some input on that as well. I thought it was a great idea, and we talked about it, and we kind of refined the idea, and here we are. But what was in your mind when you thought, hey man, I want to do something that is a little bit statewide, outside of Dayton, a little bit more competitive than the norm, but what was the whole event is your baby and your idea, and what was your what did you want to get out of it when you were thinking about the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm really fortunate to have a mentor like Brad Gray, and he was just talking to me about, having an event at Tri Village, because that's where I was. My previous event I held was at Bethel, and he's like, I know this guy. I think he's the best event guy. That's what he told me. And I said, oh, I would love to get in touch with him, just because my personality, I want to be associated with the best. And
then you
any opportunity. And then what?
Then you called me after you talked to whoever that guy was.
Oh, shut up. But I really just, like I said, I tell my players, every situation, because I'm so young. I mean, I'm only 21, but every situation I'm in, I feel like I learned something. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be able to do this event with you. And the girls we have so far are really high quality girls. And I'm really excited for who else we can get. And anytime I can associate my brand with other really good players who have the same moral compass and want the same things I do, it's a no-brainer. And I'm not from Tri Village. I don't live in Tri Village. I'm actually an hour away from Tri Village, so it's not really my area. So it's another opportunity for me to, get exposure for my brand. So I'm really, really excited. And I just love being in the gym. So anytime we get an opportunity the junior high group is going to be a lot fun, because I'll have more time with them to do skill development. But it's gonna be cool to sit back and watch some of the studs we have coming just compete, because that's my biggest thing. So I'm really, really excited, and I look forward to the opportunity.
Yeah, and that's getting into the event a little bit. That is the focus, and we've talked about this, and we've put it on social media. We're capping it at 60 players, and you and I have talked. We don't even care if we hit 60. If we hit 60, great. But what's most important is to have competitive players, and there are a lot of kids that have registered and have not been accepted yet, just because we do want to make sure that we're getting the kids that we are targeting.
So it's not about money. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. We don't need to add kids just for an extra. I don't even know how much we charge. So 75.
Yeah.
It is all about being competitive, and these kids are going to be going at each other. There is going to be no hiding from the other best players, because everybody out there is good. So I love the concept, and I know we got a good start on it. We have your two kids. Bailey Beckstead, I know, is coming, and she's got several offers. So far everybody who's coming has offers, and that's kind of like the template.
Absolutely.
We want to get kids that have those offers right now, and then those fringe kids that could or should have offers but aren't there quite yet. So we're actually going to add some tonight on the show, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Are we ready to do this?
Yeah, I'm ready. I got my two. So the first young lady I'm going to add is May Maston, and she goes to Tecumseh High School. And I saw May play earlier this year. We played them, and I think December we played Tecumseh, and they beat us. And May Maston I wouldn't say she's the most athletic girl I've ever seen. She's not a freak by any means, but May Maston has a motor, and she's one of those people, when you watch her play, it's like Aaron Kraft, right? It's inspiring. She dives on the floor. She has a lot of energy, and put quite simply, I'd run through a wall for guys or girls like that play the game the right way, because I think there's a certain way to play this game. That's how I was raised. It's what I believe. And if you're willing to dive on the floor and you're willing to do the dirty stuff as a guard, I mean, she's small, coach's kid, really, really good kid, really good basketball player. So I'm really, really excited to have her at our event. And I don't know if you've seen her, but she's the real deal. I really like her.
I actually have seen her. She's a junior, right? This year?
Yes.
I think the last time I seen her, she was a freshman.
Okay.
When Danielle Thomas was still the coach there, I believe.
Yes, I remember that.
And they played up at Ursuline in a summer camp, and she's the actual definition of Mighty Mouse, honestly.
Yes, she is. Yes,
I don't know what her height is, but it may not be 5 foot. I don't know. If it is, it's 5'1".
Yeah.
But man, does she get after it. So yeah, that's a great addition. Who else you got?
My other one is Peyton McGee. I wanted to make sure I pronounced that name right. So Peyton McGee from Fairfield. I saw Peyton McGee at a workout about I'd say 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I saw her at a workout I did in Cincinnati, and Peyton McGee's another one of those kids where, you know, she's not I don't think she's going to have 25 Division I offers, but she's extremely coachable and she's hungry. Like when you do drills with a kid and they come up afterwards asking you questions, hey, how can I make sure I do this right? Like, what's the correct footwork? How can I do this at home? Those are the type of kids I want to help. Those are the type of kids that I like I said about May, you know, I'll do anything to help those types of kids. And the whole point of this event, like obviously we want offers only, but if we're getting extremely high character, high quality basketball players, that's the most important thing to me. If we're getting varsity starters who are going to be first team all district, all state, if we can help them, you know, change their lives, really, get them a scholarship, do whatever we can, that's the whole goal.
Yeah. The two kids that I'm going to add tonight are actually teammates up in Cleveland. So we have kids from we certainly got Dayton kids, we got Columbus area kids, we've got Canton area kids. Who else we have? We have Riley Montagner from the far east side of Cleveland.
I saw that.
Be good.
And
that's a good get.
I'm actually going to add two more Cleveland kids, and they're teammates at Cleveland St. Joe's Academy. Ava Haddad and Ella Neitzel. Ella is a 5'9" shooter, and I mean it's in her genes. Both of her sisters are playing at the University of Akron. I think Ella just had 22 points on Saturday. The kid is a great shooter. I mean, that's her forte, but she's really getting much better at attacking off the dribble and doing a lot of the dirty work. I actually had an opportunity to coach her for one event in the summer for an AAU event, and man, she blew me away with how tough. She don't necessarily look tough, and I hope Kevin ain't listening to this, or Ella. I mean, if you don't know her and you're just looking like the eye test, she looks a little girly.
That's funny,
but she's tough as nails. So you really got to pay attention to when she's playing to not make that stereotype. But the other kid, Ava Haddad, she's a 6-foot post player, very technical. She's a kid that you're going to love because she does have good footwork. She has great hands. She's not a kid that necessarily looking to dominate on the scorebook. I was at a game earlier this year, and she had 11 or 12 rebounds and 0 points.
Little things. Yeah.
There's also games where she's, is scoring 15 to 18, but she's a great passer out of the post position. So those are both two kids that are going to really increase the talent at the event. So those four are officially in. We'll definitely email them the information how to finish things up with the registration, but they are in. And as we get kids, we'll continue to add. Like we've kind of talked about, there's certain factors that give kids automatic admission. Having offers is one of them. First, second team All-Ohio in previous years is something that we really would love to see and kind of give you the advantage. But other than that, we're going to compare kids. We're going to watch highlight films that are provided, and we're going to get the best kids in that event that we possibly can. Before you go, Caleb, I know you watch a lot of other basketball in your area too.
Yeah, of course.
Let's hear about some of those other kids. I know some of those kids that you trained. I know the name, but I don't necessarily know a whole lot about them. But give us maybe 3 to 5 kids that are really good and they're just not known around the state yet.
Yeah, I think Haley Unger is the epitome of what you just said. I mean, Haley Unger. She's an incredible talent. I mean, she is unguardable, and I saw it against us. In every game she's played, she's currently leading the conference that Tri-Village plays in scoring right now. She's interest from a plethora of schools, but she's she's a monster. I mean, she can defend. She can play the 1 and the 2. She's ferocious. I love her step back. She can do it both hands. She's a really, really good player. And then I would also, I know we already talked about her on the show, but I've talked to everybody in girls basketball. I do not understand how Morgan Hunt does not have any offers. I mean, to do what she's doing this year, and her 30-point games are against really good teams. I mean, we beat Trotwood and she put 30 on them, and they have 2 girls that are going to go Division I. She's a great player, Morgan Hunt. And the thing that makes Morgan Hunt and Haley Unker great players is they don't need the ball to be successful. Morgan Hunt has a motor. I mean, she defends, she rebounds. I mean, those are the things I look for. It's not just all about scoring. What can you do? How can you help the team when you're not scoring, when your shots aren't going in? So those are 2 that definitely come to mind. And then other girls, Coach Mosley kind of stole one of my girls, Tori Utter. She's an incredible talent. Tori Utter's a really, really good player. But I would also say out of the Dayton area, I'm trying to think who else I've seen where I've been really, really impressed. Abby Riddle. I mean, everybody knows who Abby Riddle is, but I love the way Abby Riddle plays basketball. I mean, I think Abby Riddle, I mean, there's a reason why she has, 61 offers. She plays the right way. And I had Abby Riddle at an event in the fall, and she is the most vocal person on the floor. And, I mean, we had seniors there, and she was telling them what to do. She's a natural leader, and wherever she goes, because I had people tell me, well, she doesn't really have a position. And I said, I mean, if you know your role, which she does, I mean, nobody outworks Abby Riddle. She communicates. Yeah. Everybody's always in the right position. She's a great player. And then, of course, Margot Mattis committed already to Princeton, but Margot Mattis is a bucket. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, she's so talented. I don't know, Rich, if you've had a chance to watch Mason or Nolan, if you guys have had a chance to watch any Mason, but Margot Mattis is worth taking a look at. I mean, she's really, really fun to watch, and they have a really good squad over there. So those are some girls.
Freshman last year at the Classic, but I think that's it.
Yeah. She's tough. She's tough. And then I want to shout out. Let me go through my mind here. Any other Dayton girls that have caught my eye so far this year?
I'm mad if you don't give them a shout out. Think of those names.
Oh gosh, yeah. I got it. Oh my gosh, yes. Almost forgot. Oh gosh, Riley Rice-Miller from Coldwater. Her team is not very good. I'm being kind, but she is.
We all know those type of players.
Yeah. But I think, and I don't say this lightly, I think she'll have a chance to end up as the number 1 player in the state for her grade in the 23. Just the people that are reaching out to her, it's her business. I'm not gonna, but I know the people that are reaching out to her right now, and I've seen the improvement since I started working with her, and that's not on me. I'm not taking credit for that. She's such a hard worker, and she's coachable. I mean, she's another one of those girls where, I mean, she's 6'3", 6'4". I'm really excited to have her. She's coming to our event, but she's already got an offer from Xavier, St. Louis. I mean, she's going to be a Power 5 kid. I love working her out. And, you know, everybody who's trained knows sometimes it's a grind, but I look forward to every opportunity I get in the gym with Riley. I mean, she is she's a junkyard dog. She's mean. I mean, we do some drills and she'll give me an elbow to the throat. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm the coach. You don't have to go game speed right there. Like that's her mentality, and it's going to help her. I mean, when she gets to the next level, that the nastiness, that edge you have to be a really great player. She's another one. If she was on a better team this year, she would be the Division III Player of the Year. And I mean that, because she's averaging 21 and 11 and 6 blocks. I mean, on a team that's won 2 games. So
I have seen her a little bit in AAU, and then I've seen her at the OGBR Top 64. I would love to see her and Reagan Vinskovich from Union Local match up somewhere, somehow. We may get that in AAU if the West Virginia Thunder play Ohio Elite somewhere, because they're both top notch 2023 post players. So I would love.
Can Reagan move pretty well?
Oh yeah, I mean, she's not like,
because I've heard, I've seen, but it's different when you see someone with your eyes. It's different than watching tape and stuff. I mean,
she's not like a Porzingis, but you know,
that's what Riley's like. Riley can move, man. I mean, yeah, she can really, for her size. I mean, she can really, really move, and that's at the next level. I mean, her dream players like Brianna Stewart. She can shoot it, and I mean, high school, every team has limitations. You know, you're 6'3", just stand on the block. So I'm really excited for her in AU with Brooks Hall. He does a really great job there to flourish. I'm really excited to see what she can do.
Kind of sounds like you're describing Bree Salavine out of just over the border playing for Michigan Mystics, going out to Gonzaga. She's another kid that's 6'3" and really moves extremely well.
Yeah, that's a really good example. Yeah, I never thought about that one. That's a really, really good example. Yeah, for sure. And that
you see Bree.
Yeah, I've seen some tape. I try to see everything, man. Any good girl that's in this area, in this country, I've at least seen a little bit of. Because I'm always learning. In order for me to be at my best to help the people I train, I always have to be on my toes and learning. So,
well, Caleb, I appreciate your time, man. We're definitely gonna obviously stay in touch because we got things going on, but. You know, it's always fun to have a friend in Dayton. You know, Dayton covers a lot of part of the Ohio, but it's nice to have a friend in Dayton. That's all I got to say. As long as Drake's over there behind you, looking over you at all times, you're definitely gonna keep.
Oh gosh, you like Drake, Rich?
I don't. I have no idea. I know nothing about Drake. I just know what he looks.
Okay, the mullet threw me off. You probably like what, Alabama? What's your go-to?
Oh man, I was thinking today as I'm riding in the car delivering some DoorDash, there's no better rapper than Jay-Z, man. You young kids have no clue how tough Jay-Z was. And I will listen to Jay-Z till the end of time. But
I respect it. Jay-Z's good. I mean, he's a legend.
I couldn't tell you one rap song in the last 10 years of the existence of rap. So I'm not trying to ask. I couldn't even tell you one Drake song. I'll be honest with you. I might know one if I heard it and someone said, "Oh, that's Drake," but I wouldn't have known it without someone telling me. But
yeah, the only reason why I have that one up there, I have a Travis Scott one on the other side. You can't see it either, but. When I was in like 4th grade, that album came out, and I saved up all my change to buy that album. So it's like sentimental to me. That was like the first like big boy purchase I ever bought. So
I saved up all my change to buy Jolly Ranchers and baseball cards.
Okay, yeah, different strokes for different folks. Thank you for having me on, Rich. It was nice briefly talking with you, Nolan. I hope you guys do a good job. So thank you,
man. We'll appreciate it. We'll definitely stay in touch and keep doing great things down there with those kids. I know a lot of kids have a lot of respect for you that you're working with. So
I appreciate that.
We'll see you on March 14th.
Yep, I'll see you guys. Have a great night.
All right, you too. Bye. Nolan Dwyer, it's just you and me, buddy. Let's we have a semi announcement about the NWO showcase. This isn't going to affect a lot of people, but we decided today that everybody that pre-registered for all the NEO events is going to get 50% off of the NWO, just as a thank you for, supporting the events and choosing to be at all of them. So everybody will get email. I'll email everybody tonight and get that information out. But everybody that pre-registered, there was about 25, 30 people that pre-registered for all the NEOs. We'll get that information out to you guys and hopefully we'll see you out in Toledo. But Nolan, I know you do a great job with spreading the word about that event, and that's your area, the state, and you take great pride in knowing basketball in that area and being that kind of the face of Toledo area girls hoops. But what is the event, the NW Showcase? What does it mean to you as far as, being something that you spearhead and have a lot to do with?
I mean, it's an opportunity for our kids at the end of the day. It's something that they don't have, right? Like you're bringing 60 to 70 to 80, 100 coaches, whatever it is, to Northwest Ohio to come check out a certain number of kids. And that's just a lot of eyeballs at the end of the day. That's a lot of opportunities. When one kid does well in this area, it automatically is going to bring other eyeballs to this area. So it's kind of that old adage of when one ship rises, or rising tide brings all ships. So it's the same kind of thing here. And I was actually texting with a couple of AAU coaches in the area. It's just super important to have the local support, the local programs behind it, because at the end of the day, if you really want this to be what it can be for these kids in the area, it's best when everybody's on board and working towards the goal together and in support. So for me, that's been really important, is to make sure that we're doing something that is helping the overall community, helping the region, and promoting the game of basketball and our girls.
Well, I think when you talk about the AAU coaches, like there's a certain aspect that, and we both know, because this is our third year doing this event, we both know some of these AAU coaches not only do not encourage their players to come, but they actively discourage them from coming just because they're afraid to lose them to another AAU program or another coach. For some reason, everybody thinks these events are full of AAU coaches recruiting kids, and that's so far from the truth. And for whatever reason, it's just some of them, it's hard to get on board. But when you do spring events like this, it could be a big benefit for these coaches, because we're going to have dozens of coaches at these events, and they see your kid. Guess what? They're going to want to come see you at the Run for the Roses, at the Classic, wherever you're playing. They're going to want to come find you. And some of these AAU coaches, they don't think about that. That's a promotion for their team and their program if they send kids to these events and coaches want to come see them more.
Absolutely. And, I invite every coach that I talk to, I invite them out. It's a great networking opportunity. It's a great chance to come promote your kids. Come let these coaches know who can play in your program, who's worth checking out, who's got the work ethic they need to pay attention to. But you're right. Like with these events being prior to the spring, like it's a great opportunity for kids to get their names out there, to have a certain group of coaches following them throughout the year. But as you said, there's always going to be some coaches that are afraid or don't want to promote it for whatever reason. But that's been a big goal of mine this year, is letting just the area know that this event is really for this region. This is for our girls to have a better opportunity and have opportunities that they haven't had in the past. It's really the only event that brings these type of coaches to the region at all throughout the year. So it's a heck of an opportunity for anybody that's there.
Now, I know the answer to this question, but for the people that are listening right now and the people that will listen through the week on the replay, but what is going to be different about this event from last year, and what are some of the things that you can completely expect to be the same?
Yeah, so I mean, what you can expect to be the same is there's going to be the coaches to player ratio. I think it was about a 2-to-1 ratio last year. I think we had just over 30 coaches for 60 kids. I'd expect that to be relatively similar. We're still going to have the 1-on-3, the 3-on-3, and the 5-on-5. The great thing about this showcase, I've been to a lot of showcases, and the thing that we've really tried to incorporate is the opportunity to showcase what you can really do. Anytime I go to an elite camp for any college, they pit players 1 versus 1. They want to see what you can do. How can you create your shots? How can you create space? Guess what? You're moving to the next level. When you get to the collegiate level, they have a shot clock. When you get down to a certain number or time on that shot clock, it's going into somebody's hands, and they got to create that shot. So, the one thing that when you walk away from one of our showcases, there should be no excuse for, I didn't have a chance to show what I could do. I didn't have a chance to do this. I mean, there are literally every coach in that building is going to be watching you, and for better or worse, you're going to sink or swim through these opportunities. And like I said, 1-on-1, 3-on-3, 5-on-5, those are mainstays. So you can have your staples there. The things that'll be different about this showcase. So it'll be a full showcase this year. So obviously it'll be better competition overall, more players overall. It'll be over at Owens Community College, so we'll have a little bit more space, better floors. little bit more room for coaches to evaluate and spread out and sprawl a little bit. So, as far as that goes, the one other thing that is very big this year that'll be different than last year is with it being prior to the J31 event this year. That's, for those that don't know, the J31 is an event in July where basically all of Rich's events are voted best. Top players from each event are voted on by coaches, and the top vote getters then proceed to the J31. This year, with the NWO showcase preceding the J31 event, anybody that's competing in the NWO showcase will be considered for the J31. And that's just another event that Rich does, or that you do, that it's a heck of an opportunity where it's literally inviting 30 to 35 college scholarship level kids that are definitely getting scholarships by the end of that event. Because those are who the coaches want to see. So it's just great opportunities at the end of the day. I know we talked about this behind the scenes, and I'm getting long-winded here. The 2022s, these next two classes are really going to be squeezed with the NCAA rules and allowing people to stick around for that extra year. So, each of these opportunities are going to be at a major premium, and I can't stress it enough. No matter where you're at, do not waste weekends. Make sure you're playing in front of coaches, because it's going to be incredibly important these next 2 years if you play the game of basketball.
Yep, we're definitely excited for March 21st. Like you said, the big difference is it's at Owens. The facility is going to be much better, much bigger. To be able to get any event in last year was a treat,
a win,
and it wasn't easy. And we had to adapt and do what we had to do to get people on the floor, and ultimately that's what we did. And so many coaches and players have reached out to you and I since that event, and we're so thankful. So we're going to get after it again, and we have about 7 weeks till that happens. And once season starts ending here, well, things will start rolling a little bit more, and we'll definitely be seeing everybody in Toledo. So, Nolan, man, I thank you for being my co-host today, and you didn't get me into trouble, so that's good. If people could hear some of our phone conversations, man, they would think that we absolutely hate each other. But that's not the case at all, man. I appreciate you, and if it wasn't for you, I would have never been able to go to Southern California last year. So, you helped me get that off my bucket list. So I definitely appreciate you, and you're the best type of friend. So we will talk to you another day, and maybe I'll have you co-host again at some point. But again, everybody, thanks for listening. This is week 9. Next week is the big episode 10. So everybody, thanks for listening. I appreciate you. Be kind to people. Do something nice for somebody, and don't be fake. We will see you next